Meghan Markle's latest monetization bid looks set to be her most sick stunt yet, as she puts her latest was never wardrobe onto her new website. Radar Online is reporting her latest fashion plot involves Princess Diana. Let me take you through some of this. Krista Benson posts Meghan Markle promoting the coat she wore in Geneva on May the 17th, 2026, while attending a World Health Organization event focused on the harm social media bullying causes to children and young people. From hands, as predicted, I knew that the moment she started featuring her outfits in the As Ever promo, she was going to merchandise them and add them to her brand as usual. What's new? Here we have it. Basically, Meghan is back to being an influencer because nothing else has worked. And sure enough, look at what we saw. Look at what we saw. Almost immediately, all of these outfits go on this awful fashion site because this woman needs cash. Desperately needs cash. And even though there was all the criticism about Geneva, she knew that if she put up these was never outfits, that would be the way to start getting some money coming in. It's still not going to work, though. This is the issue. And that is why Radar Online is so convinced that she is preparing to launch a fashion line inspired by Diana, the Princess of Wales, after posting what sources told RadarOnline.com was a carefully curated glimpse inside her Montecito wardrobe. So this is the picture with Lily. We've discussed it in depth, but Radar reports the post has now prompted gossip that Meghan was using it to tease an expansion of her lifestyle brand As Ever into fashion. Industry observers also noted reports about sizing charts for adults and children's t-shirts briefly appearing on the As Ever website before being removed. A fashion insider source revealing to Radar at this stage, people within branding and fashion circles tend to assume that every image Meghan releases publicly has been very deliberately considered beforehand, right down to the styling, colour palette and positioning of products or labels in the background. The wardrobe photograph immediately set off speculation because it didn't feel like a casual family snapshot. It looked much more like the soft launch of a wider fashion and identity lifestyle tied to As Ever. The insider added there's a strong sense that Meghan views clothing as the next logical evolution of the world she's trying to create around herself commercially. Elegant, curated, understated luxury with an emphasis on aspiration and accessibility at the same time. Sources told Radar Markle is exploring a collection influenced by the late princess's famously understated style, particularly the white shirt denim and tailored casual wear combinations that became synonymous with Diana before she died in Paris aged 36 in a high-speed car smash in 1997. One insider said Meghan understands exactly how powerful Diana's image remains globally, and that leaning into those visual parallels is strategically very smart from a branding perspective. But because Diana's legacy is still so emotionally charged, any attempt to monetize echoes of the style risks being viewed by some people as cynical or exploitative. No sugar, Sir Sherlock. Another source added the white shirt and jeans formula associated with Diana carries enormous symbolic weight because it represented glamour without stiffness and royalty without intimidation. Meghan clearly admires that image and seems interested in recreating elements of that accessibility for a modern audience through fashion. Observers examining the wardrobe photo pointed to the visible Armani Christian Dior pieces alongside carefully coordinated neutral and pastel garments as potential clues toward the direction of any future collection. Another fashion source said what Meghan seems to be developing goes far beyond the idea of simply attaching her name to a celebrity fashion label. The impression within the industry is that she's attempting to create an entire aspirational universe around her personal image, where clothing, homeware, wellness, entertaining, motherhood, and luxury living all operate together as part of one carefully managed brand identity. The strategy appears heavily influenced by the modern celebrity lifestyle model, where audiences are not just buying products, but buying into completely an aesthetic and way of living. Meghan clearly understands the commercial value of presenting herself as relatable yet elevated at the same time, and fashion is a huge component of communicating that image visually.
A new controversy is brewing inside the royal world. And this time, it's not just about headlines. It's about legacy. Because critics are now accusing Meghan Markle of attempting to position herself closer to royal history and influence, while supporters insist she's simply building her own identity. But according to growing royal commentary, the move has reportedly triggered fresh frustration around Prince William. And the backlash is only getting louder. For years, the battle surrounding Harry and Meghan has never really been about one interview, or one documentary, or one public appearance. Instead, it's been about competing narratives. On one side stands the monarchy, an institution built on tradition, continuity, and history. On the other stands Prince Harry and Meghan, determined to build a life and public identity outside palace control. And ever since their departure from royal duties, every major move has been interpreted through that lens.
But here's the problem, P. Dina, with all of this. No one wants to buy into Meghan's aesthetic or Meghan's lifestyle. So that's why she's trying to invoke Princess Diana. And look, she's done that for a long time. Look at what we put together, P. Dina, showing that for many years, Meghan has specifically gone for outfits which invoke Princess Diana. There's nothing subtle about what she's doing, P. Dina. And of course, Diana is going to become the latest money-making scheme for her. I mean, this is obvious, isn't it? Because she can't do it herself. So that's why she's trying Lily, for example, in the cupboard. That's why this week she launched the candle on the back of the royal wedding and posted all of those images from inside the wedding, because we need to be reminded of the fact that once she actually sort of was half royal. And next it's going to be this subtle Diana influence in her fashion business. I'm not surprised. Are you?
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all. Meghan does this because, yes, she can't do it on her own. And it's like stealing the legacy to help yourself. It's no different than what she did with the naming of her daughter. And it's so weird because I heard something about the late queen and they said her childhood name Lilibet. And I immediately thought of Megan's daughter. And that's what Megan is doing. And it's such a subconscious thing, but that's what she's doing. She's trying to latch on to Diana's legacy and to use her clothing to invoke the memory of the late Princess Diana. And I think if this does go forward, Dan, look at the amount of disrespect this would be to William. I mean, because that is his mother as well. Meghan does not care about her connection to this family. If you are in close proximity, she is going to steal it to help herself, but not consider, how disrespectful it is to take from someone that is like in your family, so to speak, that you don't even care about doing the right thing to get permission or to see if it would be okay. You just want to run with it. And that's what I find so distasteful about this woman. She just does things that are so not the way things are done. The fact that Harry hasn't even met, her father. They don't care about the traditions, the norms of etiquette. And that's what I think bothers people. And I think Meghan trying to look like she is this very classy woman, but the way she does things is so distasteful. And we will never buy from her because we see how she does other things, how she does things that are supposed to be done that are tasteful, like, the whole family connection and respecting the nickname of the late queen and not trying to just steal the late Princess Diana's, name to sell your clothing, but do the right thing and ask permission. Would it be okay to do that? And she just doesn't care. And I think that's what bothers people the most about her is how she just throws things away and is disrespectful to the norms and the etiquette of how you go about doing these things when it's your family, even if it is your in-laws, you don't do that. It's disrespectful.
100%. But the thing is, P. Dina, there is a real stench of desperation now. I mean, I don't think we have seen a more desperate week where, I call it her flood the zone strategy. It's like something goes very badly wrong, so then it's very quickly on to the next. It means everything is very confused. No one really knows what's going on. But of course, the images that we had at the start of the week of her in Geneva with literally 10 people having shown up for her to deliver those speech were just so mortifying to Meghan, and for good reason. I mean, it was one of the most embarrassing things she's ever done, and that is saying something. And it shows her huge lack of popularity and the fact that the mainstream media just don't care about her. Rather than going away and thinking, okay, how can I strategize about this? What do I need to do better? How can we turn this around? She immediately has to throw something against the wall. So it was obviously the wedding pictures, but also this, P. Dinah. And I just wanted to know what you thought of the new weird image for Was Never, which to me almost looks like, because there's the other one from last week too, where it's almost like creepily seductive in the way that she's eating. And I'm like, who are you trying to sell to? Like, you're not an OnlyFans girl, right? Like, I don't know, Pete Dinah, you're a woman. Like, why would Meghan being creepily seductive make you want to buy her lifestyle products?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, do you know your market? Do you know who the people are that would be buying this jam? Right? It's not men who you're trying to seduce.
Yes.
They're not buying jam. And you know, another interesting point, Dan, when I saw that view of the closet, it looks like a closet, like what we call here in America, or a cabinet, a wardrobe for clothing, where she has the jam in. That thing is huge. It doesn't even look like a pantry
And
for
it's not
food. It
hers
looks like a
anyway.
wardrobe.
It's not
Yeah, true.
hers.
And how she's so, like, she sits back and she moves her hair like, what, are you exhausted now? Like, it's too much, you gotta take a break. Like, what is she doing in that moment? That clip was just so out of the norm. Like, get your jam, have some bread or something there, and spread it and eat it. Like, it was too much extra. She was just
100%.
doing too much.
100%. And look, the whole brand has always been a complete disaster because she doesn't know how to sell a lifestyle brand. I mean, you could argue, P. Dinah, that maybe fashion would be better if she's wanting to go for that type of more seductive image. But the problem is, she's not particularly good at fashion either, is she? Like, a lot of people have, I mean, I'm not a fashion guy, but a lot of people have been criticizing her outfits again.
Mhm. Yeah, I think also she doesn't look good in her clothing. She doesn't have a model style body. And I don't like to say negative things around appearances like that, but when you look at her trying to sell clothing on her type of body frame, it doesn't fit well. She has like a SpongeBob type of body, like really small, skinny legs and like a upper, bigger top part. And the clothing just doesn't flow nicely. It doesn't complement the clothing. And I would think if you were going to sell clothing, also have someone that can wear it to make it look more appealing. But then, the styles, the wide bell bottom pants that she wears, they're just hideous on her. It just looks like she's drowning in the clothes. It just doesn't look good on her. That's my biggest pet peeve around her wearing these clothes items. I mean, I have liked some of her outfits, but more when she was in the royal family, not the ones since she's left and done her own thing. I think it doesn't look good and it doesn't complement her body style.
No, but it probably does make more sense than this lifestyle brand, which just isn't working. And the problem is, P. Dinah, what we're now seeing is Meghan Unleashed too, without even the people at Netflix saying, what are you doing? And it just proves that she doesn't really know how to sell this product.
Yeah, she doesn't know and she doesn't have the guidance. And even if she did, she wouldn't listen because she always feels that she has the right answers. And that's the problem that Megan has, is that she can't listen to the people that know better. And I think she had been told about her jams, but this is something that she wanted to do because she was trying to emulate all the things that are being sold by the monarchy, like the king's jams. She was trying to be in competition with the monarchy around the things that they sell. So this is why she chose it. But I can't imagine that she was advised that this would be something that you should try to make as a business. I think the way she implemented everything with her With Love Megan show, the things that she decided to make, to coming out with jam and chocolate and wine, nothing seemed on point and purposeful. It seemed very chaotic and not in a real direction that made sense. You know, Megan doesn't have a big profile where she could just go out and sell things. People needed to get to know her and to really warm to her character, being a part of the monarchy, a woman who was out doing good things, who treated her family well, who didn't fall out with the real royals. She needed long-term um, character building on who she is as a person, but we saw who she truly is, and that is what has killed anyone wanting to buy her products, people not wanting to be associated with what she's doing. The reason why it is so chaotic, she is just not on point with how it could have been done to be successful. And it all comes back to who she truly is as a person. You know, when I said this on my show, Megan has forgotten where she came from, and this is why she doesn't know where she's going. The one
Yes.
thing that you need to know about anything in life, always remember where you came from so you know where you are going. She has no clue about where she's going because she forgot where she came from.
Such a
And
good
that's the
point.
story about Megan.
Such a good point. Such a good point, actually. And that's an important philosophy. When you're talking about the chaos, P. Diner, of the week, it was very obvious that a lot of this stuff was done last minute and that she may have made a faux pas in the release of the wedding pictures. Or, P. Diner, was it deliberate to make Prince Harry look bad? Let me show you this from, according to Taz, who posted, this was an odd photo to post. Harry looks like he's in a heated exchange with Catherine and Prince William's nanny Maria. The little children look wary of Harry, so that backs this theory up. I know Charlotte and George were removed from the procession after Harry and Meghan's vows. Given how Meghan looked at Charlotte and how she reportedly behaved towards her, I'm not surprised Catherine protected her babies. I'd take a guess this was before the official portraits and Meghan sent Harry to ask for George and Charlotte. It's definitely not a sweet or romantic photo, so makes you wonder the purpose of including it. Harry looks like he's being a jerk and Meghan overseeing her handiwork. And I found this so extraordinary, P. Diner. Personally, I do wonder if Meghan is trying to make Harry look bad, but I spoke to Paula Frolic on this and she said, no, it's probably just part of the chaos. What do you think?
Well, I was really surprised that she would even put the photos of the children like that. I think it does look like there is some confrontation there. There's
Yeah.
something symbolic around the photo. It doesn't make sense to even show it. So you have to think, why is she showing this? And I think it is to show that there was something definitely not good that was happening there. But then also, why would you post the children like that? I mean, these are private wedding photos. Why?
Yeah, I know. And of course, that's the question that Queen Esther asked, I thought quite brilliantly. She said, the world respecting Meghan Markle and Harry's privacy, except Meghan Markle and Harry themselves. Imagine going from a wedding packed with A-listers to 8 years later and yet not one visible celebrity friend, not one bestie, not one A-lister or family publicly wishing them a happy anniversary. No posts, no flowers, no tributes, just silence. That is one hell of a social decline. They've floated renewing vows in the media, and now I'm wondering if the issue isn't renewing them, it's finding enough people willing to attend. I guess alienating your family, former colleagues, old friends, and eventually most of your circle leaves you standing on a very small island. And to make it even more tragic, the only visible anniversary wishes seem to be from the British Airways crew, who had apparently been informed about the anniversary beforehand. You poor thing, Meghan Markle. Life really does humble you. And then she posted this video, and it was very effective, P. Diner, because it showed how these people do love celebrating their friends' moments, usually. But even the people who maybe remain close to her, and there's not many of them, know that it's sort of professional suicide these days to choose to be associated publicly with Prince
Yeah, I was going through Nicole Avant's social media and I saw that she had attended some events and there were all these A-listers there and Megan was nowhere to be seen. Like you go on a lot of these celebrities Instagrams and their other social media that they may have and you will not see Megan amongst these people. Now you may see them like a post that Megan has done. For example, I saw Nicole Avant like something from Megan, but you won't see Megan on Nicole Avant's site. So this tells me that people are still trying to show that they can be cordial, but still keep you at a distance because you're too toxic. You kind of bring things down for us. People will want to ask questions about you if we have you in our circle. And I think it's just disaster for them. And I heard also that Oprah was leading the charge. I just not saying that this is anything that is legit in terms of it really happened, but people are saying that she has been the one trying to persuade people or telling them, hey, be careful about associating with them, because her and Meghan and Harry for that matter, because how it will hurt your brand. And I think that is why you don't see Megan on the sites, these social media sites for these people. I mean, they're having so much fun. They're going to all these events that we hadn't heard about, but yet Megan is nowhere to be seen. That says so much that she has been completely ousted from a lot of important people's inner circle.
And she's not going to come back now, is she? That's the issue.
Mm. Well, when you say come back, you mean come back to
Into
what?
these celebrity circles.
She's going to try because what other choice does she have? I mean, her life has become so different than what she envisioned. I mean, imagine, Dan, she had envisioned that her and Harry were going to rule the world. They were going to be able to make so much money. People even predicted that they would be able to make billions of dollars, off of the royal brand and all this. But the quiet game by the monarchy to just keep plowing through, don't address anything that Meghan and Harry are doing, has served them so well because Harry and Meghan have essentially hung themselves. Okay, now Hollywood wants nothing to do with them. But what can she do now? She has to keep trying. Otherwise, what? You're just going to just disappear from what you are so closely aligned, wanting to do? Like this is in her blood. So she will do any and everything to make sure she finds success somewhere. It is the actor motto. You get a no here, you get celebrities saying no there. Okay, well, who's going to give me a yes? And she's going to continue to try to find people who will give her the opportunity. We see people doing it all the time. She's doing a speech in Switzerland. She's gone to Australia. There are people that will open the door, but the A-listers, no, I don't see that happening. But there are people that will, and that's where she's going to go for. And even if it means stealing Diana's name and legacy to sell her clothes, she'll do it. She's desperate and she will do any and everything to get what she wants. And that, I believe, is a very dangerous person. And I think it's dangerous for Harry. I feel very sorry sometimes for him because he is caught up in a snare of a woman that he himself, I think, is starting to see how bad it is. And this is why we hear calls around him wanting to go back to the UK. So I don't know what he is going to do, but he needs to do something because I believe this is when it starts to get really dangerous for him because Megan is so desperate and it could cost Harry a lot more. And it already has cost him so much now. So he needs my whole thing has always been Harry needs to make a decision soon about what he is going to do with his life because the more he keeps dreaming about wanting to go back and not acting on it, the worse he becomes ensnared in Megan's goals and desires to do what she's doing, where she'll do anything to get that. And we already see her doing it, you know? So it is
Yeah,
what
I
it
mean
is.
the problem is, P Diner, he doesn't know it's going to get so much worse. Or as you say, maybe he does. Maybe he does have some
He's
idea, but
starting
we
to
both
see
know
it,
it
I
is.
think. I think he's starting to see it. I don't think he quite understands how bad, but I think he is starting to see how bad it is starting to be for him because he sees his children growing up.
Yeah.
They're not knowing any of his family, his culture, nothing. And he's starting to realize, wait a minute, I want my children to have a part of me in my life. And now it's too late. He's living in America now. They've never been when to know his family, to really know his family. So this is where it becomes a for real situation for Harry to wake up and act on these thoughts that you're having, because I know he's having them, Dan. I just know it.
The latest controversy centers on claims that Meghan is increasingly associating herself with royal symbolism, influence, and public goodwill that critics argue properly belongs to the institution itself. Supporters see nothing unusual about that. After all, Meghan remains a member of the royal family through marriage. Her life story is permanently connected to the monarchy. But critics strongly disagree. They argue that while Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal responsibilities, they continue benefiting from royal association whenever it suits them. And that's where accusations of stealing the legacy begin to emerge. For royal traditionalists, legacy isn't just a word. It's everything. It's the work built over generations. It's public service. It's duty. It's sacrifice. And above all, it's continuity. Which is why any suggestion that someone outside the institution is attempting to leverage that legacy immediately becomes controversial. Royal commentators have increasingly suggested that William views protecting the monarchy's future as one of his most important responsibilities. And if that's true, any perceived challenge to that mission is unlikely to be welcomed. But what transformed this from ordinary royal criticism into a full-blown controversy was the growing perception of desperation. Across social media and royal commentary channels, critics began describing the latest move as an attempt to regain attention. They argued that public interest in Harry and Meghan has become increasingly difficult to sustain. That major interviews are now in the past. That some business ventures have struggled to maintain momentum. And that every new public appearance carries greater pressure than before. As a result, critics claim the couple faces a constant challenge. How do they remain relevant without the institution they left behind? Supporters reject that narrative entirely. But the debate itself continues growing. What's fascinating about this situation is that it reflects a larger struggle taking place inside modern royalty itself. The monarchy depends on tradition. Harry and Meghan depend on visibility. The monarchy protects legacy. Celebrity culture rewards reinvention. And those two worlds don't always coexist comfortably. For William, the future king, protecting the institution may mean reinforcing clear boundaries. For Meghan, building an independent brand may require maintaining public visibility and relevance. Those objectives aren't necessarily compatible. And that's why tensions continue resurfacing. Meanwhile, public opinion remains deeply divided. Some believe Meghan is unfairly criticized regardless of what she does. Others argue that many controversies are self-inflicted through strategic public appearances and messaging. But regardless of which side people support, the larger reality remains unchanged. The relationship between Harry, Meghan, and the senior royals appears more distant than ever. And every new controversy only reinforces that perception. Which means even relatively small stories can quickly escalate into major royal drama. And the real question now is Meghan genuinely creating her own legacy? Or does every attempt to move forward inevitably pull her back into conflict with the monarchy she left behind? At its core, this controversy isn't really about one stunt. It's about ownership. Ownership of identity. Ownership of influence. And ownership of a royal legacy that continues shaping headlines around the world. Because for William, Harry, and Meghan, the battle isn't just about the past. It's about who gets to define the future. If you want more deep dives into the real stories, hidden tensions, and behind-the-scenes dynamics surrounding the royal family, make sure you subscribe and stay tuned. Because what's happening behind the palace walls is often far more complicated than it appears.